Hiya, I'm Luna, and well, let's cut to the chase. I know this is a very charged topic on this platform. I know that there's a lot of factors behind it. In fact, I've been following this saga since the beginning. I was watching these YouTubers even as far back as their Sad Milk channel. However, this is something I would like to speak on. I will not be speaking specifically about the legal aspects, because there are so many videos out there from actual lawyers who have a lot more information and insight on that side of things. On top of that, let's set some ground rules before going in here. Well, first based off of the final lawsuit update that Oz did. In fact, I will play that in full.
Blair and I have agreed to settle this matter confidentially through mediation. The lawsuit has been dismissed against all parties without any admission of fault by any party. As a part of the non-disclosure agreement, it should be known that Blair will not be sharing her side of the story behind this dispute, nor will I. No one should contact either of us further about this case or ask us to comment on it, or each other. As I have stated previously, anyone following me should never make threatening remarks to anyone involved in this case in a public or private forum.
So, to emphasize, do not ask either party about their thoughts on the case. Do not ask Illuminaughtii or Oz how any of the further details played out. The only things I would ask Oz if he is watching is how he is feeling now and how it feels to have such a big weight off his back. Well, moving forward to what I would like to say, I should first set up my own context and my own biases here. I was on Oz's side through this whole thing. In fact, I had donated to his GoFundMes for the legal case. That shows a bias in his favor. I know, but that's not what this is here to talk about. In terms of my own context, because I feel this is important, I lived and grew up in Colorado, where this case was taking place. I am a fifth generation Coloradan. In fact, for people who are in the know about that, my grandma has the Pioneer plate. So, for those who know, take that as you will. I ended up leaving Colorado back in August for a long list of reasons, and I would steadily put this lawsuit at number 3 on that list. That is even higher than the huge price increases Colorado has seen. That is even higher than the political aspects I've been having problems with back in Colorado. In fact, the only things that beat out my feelings about this whole case in general is my summer seasonal depression and how heavily I'm affected by heat and how much that affects my muscle fatigue. Those are the only instances of I put moving from Colorado as above this case. And it all comes down to one reason, and one reason only, as shown in this quote here.
To firmly clarify, the judge is not connected to or well educated on the YouTube space, nor the drama which has transpired. He is doing his job and acting according to the documents provided in front of him. More on this soon, as the legal system is far more complicated than an episode of Law & Order may lead you to believe. As a reminder,
okay, I know that says a lot there. However, that quote, that lack of knowledge and context, is a huge issue in my mind. You see, as you probably heard me talk about before, I have a master's degree in computer science, and I'm specifically in the data science space. It is important for me to mention that I am very much for the looking into data and how it's handled, which involves context, talking about biases, and well, the fact that the judge and the lawyers could not look and get an idea about the YouTube space, despite it being public information, to the point where it directly affects some of the legal aspects that were talked about in this original Dear Illuminati video, is honestly terrible to me. Because why is it that it is more important for the data scientists and everyone in this data analytics space to have such a deep knowledge of the context, the biases, even to the point where domain knowledge can put you above a bunch of other candidates, while at the same time the legal arena cannot look into this, get that context, and try and understand those biases. Because, I mean, there's one thing with the legal system where, well, how should I say this? Is one thing for the legal system to not be able to look into like a closed-off company, to not be able to dig into their records until much later. And of course, there's the question of admissibility in court. However, when everything is public like this, there is absolutely no reason why the judge couldn't have gotten at least some of the context on the YouTube sphere. I'm not even talking directly about this case, I'm talking more generally. They should be expected to have an idea about the context, about how these technologies are used, and how they would factor into not even just this case, but any case that uses like Facebook and Facebook Messenger, Instagram, whatnot, instead of regular texts. Because honestly, I have seen other, not just this case, but other cases that have not understood the tech landscape well enough, have not been able to put together Facebook and Instagram and whatnot as a public platform, as a public commons, rather than just a messaging site. And of course, with the question of data privacy, especially when it comes to these platforms, if they don't understand the public commons idea set that these sites are built around well enough, they are not making good, well-informed decisions in a reasonable manner. Now, going back to, of course, this case specifically, by not being able to get any sort of idea about the YouTube space, going in with that assumption, like with Oz's side, going with the assumption of a lack of knowledge, means his case, and the case in general, would not have been able to be built well enough from either direction, honestly. Because, I mean, if the lawyers and the judge are just reading these papers, they're missing out on a lot of the context that goes into a video. Channels, the underlying business sphere, the connection between the different creators. It's completely missing. Now, and of course, if this was to continue in court, Oz said he would play this video, but even this video misses too much context to be able to say that the judge and lawyers would have been able to come to a conclusion satisfactorily given the facts surrounding the case, as well as the platforms. And it would have meant that other cases who would likely have had to look towards this case once it was finished would have also had the underlying assumptions of bad YouTube knowledge, lack of etiquette in this regard, all of that. So, that is actually why, even though it seems like Oz is, well, in the words of some of the comments I've seen, giving up, he didn't deserve any of that in the first place. With that being said, this was the best outcome that could have come of the case. By completely shutting it down, allowing the parties to just go their separate ways without having to keep collecting more and more money, without having to dig this hole in front of a group of people who could not understand the context and were unwilling to really do that sort of understanding, building that out. They have given themselves the best potential outcome. Now Oz can live his life, not have to worry about his ex, and iilluminaughtii can, maybe she'll come back to the platform, maybe she'll create videos, no matter how we feel about them, but they're not dragging each other down anymore. That is the most important thing here. This is also why I think the case ending in this way, frankly, is more important in the drama sector as well, as much as the drama people will complain because they went to see a bloodbath. They aren't. They're not seeing it escalate. They're not getting more and more emotionally invested in these other people's lives. Because remember, these are people's lives we're talking about. It's not just some legal factor or, oh yes, the drama kings, the dancing jesters trying to get our attention and make us have all sorts of fun. These are people. And by not having these drama YouTubers being allowed to be invested, make the bloodbath happen, it's honestly the best outcome for them too. Well, they'll probably disagree with that idea set, but well, anyway, I think I've gotten across the most important factors I want to get across here. I know people are going to disagree, but be sure when you're doing so, be civil. Disagree if you're going to comment about it. We'll talk it out. Other commenters will talk it out. And once again, make sure when addressing this case, not just in this comment section, but in other comment sections as well, to not just make sure you don't push it. Because if you give them the room to say that they've broken the mediation in one way or another, this can go back into court. And I don't think anyone wants that. I think it'll just harm everyone involved. So, if you think my ideas were interesting, feel free to subscribe. We can talk some of this out in the comments, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.